Hey everyone, it is George Couros. Welcome back to another solo episode of the Innovator's Mindset podcast. When you're listening to this, it's probably the middle of June. Many teachers are finishing off their year and going out to vacation. So I'm planning just to do some shorter podcasts, something really quick, maybe give you some ideas, some thinking. And I wanted to talk a little bit about finding the exceptional instead of sticking with the good. And this is based on a blog post I wrote that will be linked down below, and it's called Letting Go to Leap Forward, Finding Courage at Life's Crossroads. And I was inspired by a quote from a book called The Pivot Year by Brianna Wiest, and she shared this in her book. There is nothing scarier than the idea of leaving what is good for the hope of what may be exceptional. What you do not realize at the moment is that you have already decided. The path forward is now about becoming comfortable with what choice, through all the mental gymnastics, justifications, explanations, and processing that it may bring. In the end, you already know. You're not finding your answers, you are finding your courage. That part really stuck out to me and reminded me of a time earlier in my career. I had worked in a school for several years, and it was a phenomenal school. I really loved it. It was a great community, really great people there, but I was stuck. And it wasn't anything by the school. It was just me. Partly because it was, I just didn't want to live there. It was a smaller town. I wanted to maybe live in a bigger community because I had some other things that I wanted to try, but I just felt limited to. And in all honesty, when I think back at that time at that school, when I first came in, I remember in my interview, I'm not even kidding, the principal at the time, he said to me, "You seem like you're more interested in coaching basketball than you are in teaching." I'm like, you're not wrong. You aren't wrong. I'm just like, teaching to me is like a job. It's not something it just is, right? And I love basketball, like, this too. I've talked about it a million times. And I feel that during that time in that school, because of other opportunities that were presented to me, both by the district and the school as well, I started changing myself, and my passion for education had grown exponentially. But in some ways, I felt limited in the sense that people that I had been around probably saw me as how I was when I started, not what I was becoming. And so I felt I needed to go. And the only way I was going to grow is if I left. So I remember really kind of doing this and kind of going through the process. And this is something that I think about quite often is I had committed, no matter if I had a job or not, I was leaving. I'm at the end I'm not waiting to play Frogger and jump from one job to the other. If I do not find another opportunity, I actually will be leaving at the end of this year, which was honestly terrifying. I was in severe debt, but I also knew that I wasn't happy. And I wasn't miserable, but I just wasn't happy. And I share this with you because I know it's June. Maybe it's too late for some of you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if this is too late for you. But I think sometimes we just get so complacent and we don't necessarily realize if we are struggling, that maybe things aren't good, but they can be way, way better. So I think part of it too, why I share this with you all is because the focus on whether I have a job or not, I'm leaving at the end of this year, stokes something in me. I better find a job. I better find something. So I was very assertive in applying for positions, trying to get something different because I knew that I didn't have a backup plan, but I needed something. So luckily, within the last, I think, week of May or so, I luckily was offered a job. But I will tell you this, I was basically saying at that time, it's a temporary job. There's no tenure. There's no guarantee for the following year for either of us. I might not want to stay. They might not want to have me. I don't know. But when I entered this new opportunity, I remember coming in saying like, this is a new opportunity. Nobody knows me. Nobody knows anything about, my passion for teaching or anything. I am going to create a new version of myself. And I had an amazing admin team. I had amazing staff there. Again, another amazing community. The biggest change wasn't the group, because I went from one amazing community to another. It was me, because I committed to being something so much different. I know it's like little, even the way I dressed when I taught, my attitude towards going to work every single day. And because I had committed to leaving and I committed to finding something better, I created a whole new life for myself. And so when you get that blank slate, what do you do with it? When you get that start over, what do you do with it? When I moved from Canada to Florida, I didn't want to just do Canadian things in Florida. One of the things that I really remember, and I'm sad thinking about it, is I never walked my dogs ever in Canada, because 80% of the year it was freezing. I didn't want to go outside. And I'm not a cold weather person. Even though I grew up in Canada and I've lived there all my life minus the last 3 years. But when I moved to Florida, and on the way, I started walking my dogs every single day. And I'll tell you, it really started off my day in a really amazing way, because my dogs were excited. They would look forward to it. And because they look forward to it, I look forward to it. And even though my dogs, Odom and Cooper, are no longer with me, and I miss them every single day, my dog Suggs, I currently do that. That's his new habit as well. And so there's a lot of things that when I moved here, I just didn't do the same thing in a different place. I said, who am I going to become into this new place? There's a line, and I don't know where it's originally from, but I know Justin Bieber sings. It's that the grass isn't greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. And I understand that. But sometimes what we have to understand is we're watering rocks, and you do have to do something different. And so if you are going into the summer, if you're going into a new job, if you're going into a new opportunity, what I would challenge you with and get you to consider, or even, I know that sounds weird, even if you're going to the same job, what is your blank slate? What is that opportunity that you want to create for yourself that you will look back on going into next year, that you're going to create something so much better? And I'll tell you, maybe the people around you won't see you any different, but you'll feel different. And when you feel different about what you do every single day, what opportunities does it create? Don't stick with something just because it's Find that what you want to create. This is not something, the reason I do these podcasts is not just for anyone listening out here, that might be involved in education. I hope my kids see this one day. And it's something I want them to think. I want them to create the best life that you created yourself. And so I'm very proud that I was willing to do it, because it's like I don't even recognize the person that was there before, because I'm very different, but it's because I created something different. I had a different mentality showing up every single day. And one of the quotes that I shared in this blog post, and again, I'll link it down below, is you can't start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one. Write your story. Right? Create your story right now. So very short podcast. I just want to share some insights with you. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope I gave you something to think about. Share any of your ideas or thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for all you do. Take care.